Welcome to episode 8 of Nintendo Kill Count, the show where we play through a game available on a Nintendo console and count everything we kill in a quest to find the most deadly protagonist. Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons is one of those games I will always champion. You may be more familiar with developer Hazelight's more recent game, It Takes Two, winner of 2021's Game of the Year award. If you haven't played Brothers, which is how I will refer to it from here on out, it's an adventure puzzle platformer centering around one main gimmick. In the game, you control two, you guessed it, brothers as they set out on a quest to find the water of life that will heal their sick father. As you explore each environment, you control both brothers at the same time, one with each control stick. It takes a little to wrap your head around how to move both brothers simultaneously, but once you do, it's a novel experience and sets up for some really clever puzzles. In past episodes, I did warn that there would be spoilers, but realistically, all the games I've played had next to no story and were pretty old, so the expiration for spoilers had long since expired. I know, there is that one guy out there who is super into the lore of Balloon Fight, but for everyone else, it doesn't matter. Today though, I do want to stress that there will be major story spoilers. Unless you get stuck on one of the puzzles, you can finish a playthrough of Brothers in under 3 hours, and to fully talk about my experience, I will spoil some of its most impactful moments. If you have any desire to play the game in the future, I would recommend stopping the video now and playing the game instead so you can experience it without being spoiled. The last thing I want to say is that this is a very linear game, where your player-controlled characters are constantly in danger, but rarely kill anything. As such, this episode more closely resembles a mini walkthrough or review. With that in mind, relax, pour yourself a glass of chocolate milk, and drop a comment with your guess of how many enemies we kill in Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons on Nintendo Switch. Brothers is divided into 7 chapters, sandwiched between a short prologue and epilogue. In the prologue, we learn that their mother drowned and they are being raised by their father in a remote village. Without warning, their father is struck down by a mysterious illness, and the town doctor indicates that only water from the Tree of Life will heal him. Even though I have no medical background, I would argue that if a doctor tells you the only cure for someone is magic water, you might want to get a second opinion. But, with no one else willing to help, it falls on the two of you to begin your quest to find this mythical cure to heal your dad. Chapter 1 has you leaving your village and venturing into the surrounding foothills beyond. Along the way, you learn the basics of utilizing both brothers to move objects and solve puzzles. Especially important to note are the limitations of each brother, which are further expanded upon in later chapters. Essentially, Big Brother is the brawn and can pull heavy levers, while Little Brother can squeeze in small spaces and climb. Big Brother can swim, while Little Brother is too scared, probably because of the trauma surrounding his mother's death, and he has to pull the Yoda maneuver and cling to his older sibling's back to cross any deep water. Mido from Ocarina of Time tries to keep you from leaving, but eventually you make it through the village and start climbing the cliffs leading to the wider world beyond. Here you meet what I'm going to call a troll. He appears to be really sad, but he helps you navigate the cliffs, and even uses his own body as a bridge, enabling the brothers to cross wide gaps that they otherwise wouldn't be able to. The chapter finishes with the troll grabbing both brothers and jumping down a waterfall into the depths of the earth. Originally, I had this crazy conspiracy theory that this act of surviving a huge fall would negate several potential deaths later on, but I had forgotten that you landed in water, which kind of blew my theory out of the water. The chapter concludes with the troll dropping you off at the mouth of a tunnel that is too small for him to crawl through. Chapter 2 has the brothers entering the tunnel and exploring a vast underground mine, filled with what I'm going to call evil trolls. The puzzles become slightly more complex, and the chapter ends with 2 boss fights. In the first, you free another friendly troll from a locked cage and then lock the evil troll who is guarding her in the same cage. This was the first instance of consideration for a kill, as the troll would die inside the cage if left for long enough. But I figured that other trolls in the mine would come check on the prisoner periodically, and would have freed him. The siblings then try to escape the mine with the freed troll, but once again are accosted by another evil one. This time the brothers push him down a deep hole, which is the first recorded kill in the playthrough. Chapter 2 concludes with the brothers escaping the mine, meeting up with the original troll guide, and reuniting him with the troll he rescued, who I assume is his wife. Chapter 3 begins with the brave adventurers wandering through creepy woods at night, fending off wolves with a torch, arriving at a graveyard which is somehow less creepy than the woods, and then jumping in a river to avoid previously said wolves. The only possible kill came at the end of the chapter in a creepy dream sequence where a giant version of the boy's dead mother appears, clutching their sick father in one hand. Little Bro tries to convince her to let him go, and then Big Bro chokes out Little Bro, killing him. Since this is a dream sequence and we don't actually do the killing, it doesn't count. Chapter 4 involved riding goats through more rocky cliffs, borrowing a glider from an eccentric inventor, and crash landing it next to a giant stone tower. Navigating around and into the tower, the brothers stumble upon a wounded owl-like creature that they free and ride on its back to safety. Upon landing some distance later, it appears to die. Chapter 5 is my favorite area. The remnants of a sprawling battlefield stretches as far as the eye can see. Corpses of giants are scattered everywhere, and the puzzle solving is visually spectacular as the boys use weapons scattered around the environment to cut a path through the area, literally chopping up the bodies of the giants to do so. Eventually they climb down the rocky plateau of the battlefield to an outdoor arena-esque area still pooling with blood from the battlefield. It's a typical Saturday night, and a cult ritual is in full swing, as a dozen or so gnomish figures brandishing spears have captured a girl and appear to be sacrificing her. Creatively covering both the brothers in blood and having them stand on each other's shoulders, they appear to be a grotesque monster that the cultists start worshipping. This distraction allows them to maneuver close enough to free the girl, and all three make their escape. Chapter 6 has the two brothers hopping in a canoe with their new friend, and navigating a beautiful river full of ice floes, jumping whales, and giant turtles. Arriving at another village, they ditch the canoe and make their way through on foot. The villagers here are all permanently encased in ice and being eaten like frozen Snickers by an invisible giant. The first time I played the game, I thought my game had glitched, but nope, just like me at a party, he's invisible. The giant chases them out of the village, and as they book it across a bridge, the giant's great weight causes it to collapse, and he tumbles into the ravine, adding another kill to the count. The final chapter has the kids following their new friend down a tunnel into her home. At this point, Big Brother is infatuated and will follow her anywhere, whereas Little Bro wants to continue their quest ASAP. Traversing a short distance into the tunnel, the girl starts convulsing, suddenly transforming into a weird spider-human hybrid. She spins a giant spiderweb hamster ball with the brothers locked inside and drags them deeper into her lair. Here they face the final boss. Big Bro manages to escape the web, but is instantly pinned. Little Bro uses his spiderweb Zorb ball to knock her onto her back, which allows Big Bro to rip the Spider Queen's legs off one by one. This continues until she convulses in her death throes, but in a final act of defiance, she lashes out with one of her two tiny remaining legs, spearing Big Bro in the gut. Little Bro supports his wounded brother as they leave the lair, and shortly they arrive at their destination, the Tree of Life. Little Bro leaves Big Bro at the base of the tree since his injury is so bad, and climbs up to obtain the healing water himself. Returning to the base of the tree with healing water in hand, he finds his brother has succumbed to his wounds and died. Devastated, Little Bro weeps and buries him there. Out of nowhere, the weird owl bird creature from the end of Chapter 4 flies down, gives Little Bro a much needed hug, and flies him back most of the way to his village with the precious water of life. The epilogue concludes with Little Brother, now alone, entering the village with his hard-won healing water. To do so, he has to cross a deep stream, which, if you recall, he can't do without Big Bro's help. We get an emotional cutscene of his dead mother encouraging him to try, and then with the clever use of the dead brother's controls, Little Bro swims and makes his way through the village, now able to perform all of Big Brother's actions himself. The game ends with Little Bro bringing back the sacred water to the doctor, and we are treated to one final cutscene. Back where the game began, at the gravesite of the boy's mother, a new headstone for Big Brother has been erected beside hers. The boy's father takes a moment to survey both headstones before he breaks down weeping. While I've done my best to describe it, this game is so much better experienced. The graphics are basic, but the environments are, in my opinion, still beautiful. Benches are scattered throughout the levels that allow you to sit down and have a quiet moment of reflection. Going along with this, the story is one of my favorites in any game. Without any text or real speech, some characters do make noises that are loosely based off Arabic, the game tells a better story than other games do with fancy cutscenes and voice acting. The story is masterfully revealed through nonverbal communication, and it's easy to pick up on the contextual clues provided. This is further enhanced by how each brother can interact with the environment. Both can interact with the same object or person, but with vastly different results that further flesh out our understanding of their character. We see how generally the older brother is more mature, while the younger brother is goofier and has a love for animals. Without any real words being spoken, the relationship between the brothers feels surprisingly real. While I love the game, I can't neglect to mention a few issues that do detract from the overall experience. Even though I enjoy the art direction, the visuals aren't without their faults. Pop-in is a real issue, and the shadows are often glitched as well. Even more egregious, however, is the level-breaking bug I've experienced in multiple playthroughs during Chapter 2. At the end of the level, you have to free a friendly troll from an evil troll by stealing a key from a guard. A cutscene is supposed to trigger, allowing you to steal the key, but often it never triggers. This forces you to not just reload the last checkpoint, but the entire chapter. In the grand scheme of things, this only cost me about 10 minutes during my playthrough, but still, the fact that this was never fixed when the game was brought to Nintendo's Switch is a major issue. At the time of its original release in 2013, it reviewed fairly well, but people today don't seem to talk about Brothers much. I can't really blame them, since at the time of recording it's 8 years old. But if this one is in your Steam backlog, or you can pick it up for cheap on your console of choice, I encourage you to give it a shot. With all that said, as the two brothers in Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, we killed one evil troll, one invisible giant, and one spider queen, bringing our final kill count to 3. Thanks for watching this slightly different episode. Next time, we will be back playing a more traditional game with a larger kill count, so if you enjoyed the videos, be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on future episodes.